So today we're going to talk about 5 easy back strengthening exercises to ease your back pain. But before we get into some of the strengthening, I like to go into like my phases of care because it's really, really important to understand this piece. Because a lot of times when you go to physical therapy for back pain, all they want to do is start giving you some strengthening exercises and some stretching for tight muscles. And honestly, it doesn't work. And so our first phase of care is always the mobility piece. And what does that mean? That's how do the joints move? Because you can get back pain from your thoracic spine, you can get back pain from your back, you can get back pain from your hip. All these areas may not be moving, and it can be a combination of those things. So if you go in and you try to strengthen something and you can't move it, you're not going to get the results. And so like if my bicep only can move from here to here, you're only going to get some strengthening through here. You're not going to get strengthening through the full motion, and there's still going to be a lot of weakness. We need to take the joints through the full motion in order to get the muscle to activate. If you only can take it through part of a motion, your body may compensate, it may go around, which then creates more problems. And so that's always the phase, our first phase of care. And there are videos on this, so make sure that you go into our description because we have other videos that we talk about some of these things from the mobility perspective. So when we've ruled out the mobility part of the back and we've figured out what's going on and everything is moving really well, then we go into stability. And so these are some really good stability exercises to do. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at a lot of areas. So we're going to do exercises that hit our glute, our back. We're going to look at stuff that hit our abs and then also our obliques. And so they're all different areas that need to be strengthened. And so we're going to give you an exercise that addresses all of those. So before we get started, my name is Stephanie. I'm with Empower Physical Therapy, and we help clients avoid surgery, injections, and medications, and really help putting the pieces of the puzzle together. So often in our medical system, we only go to the side of the pain, and the source of the problem is usually in another location. So you really have to look at the whole body in order to figure it out, and that's one of the big problems that I see in our medical system. So we really look at the whole body. So when we get into some of these strengthening things, this is really, again, for the people that after we look at the mobility phase, we figured everything out, we've gotten to the source of the problem, now we're ready for strengthening. This is when you would start these exercises. So the first exercise we're going to do is prone mule kick. So that's prone is being on your stomach. And so you're going to be on your stomach. And we're going to have our forehead is going to be on our arms. And what you're going to do is you're going to lift the leg up and you're going to squeeze the glute and lift up. And then come back down. Same kind of thing, just doing it really slowly so that you aren't using momentum and that you're really able to kind of get that muscle to activate. So again, squeeze and lift. You're not going to get a lot of motion from this because your leg doesn't extend that high. If you're on your hands and knees, you're going to notice a lot more motion, but a lot of times you'll get more compensation from that. You'll get other muscles that want to help out. So when you do this, again, knee, squeeze the glute and lift up. Try to keep it where your body's not rotating. You want to keep the pelvis on the ground and then coming back down. So doing these, 10, 15 times are a great way to start this type of exercise. So the next one we're going to do is bridging. And so on this one, we're going to do bridging, but we're going to put a little twist to it. We're going to actually do some marching. So it's very similar to walking because we have to be able to stand on one leg to be able to bring the other leg forward as we're walking. So we're going to do something very similar. You're going to push through the heels to make sure that we get the back sides of the legs. We'll get the hamstrings, the glutes, and the lower back. Now, you want to make sure your pelvis is level. And so what you're going to do is you're going to hold this and you're going to lift one leg up. You don't want the hips to dip down. You want to keep them level. That is the key. So you'll lift one leg up. You'll lift the other leg up. Nice and slow, keeping the pelvis level, and then coming back down. You can also put a stick through here to kind of hold it, and then you'll be able to see if the stick tilts, because it's really important. That just shows that you're compensating. So it's a really easy one to do at home to make sure that you're not compensating using muscles that you shouldn't be using. So this is a great one. If lifting your leg is too hard, you can lift up and then just lift your heel up. You're still going to be able to put weight through here. You still look at your pelvis, make sure that it's very even. And then you can come down and then lift the other side up and then come down. Great exercise. Again, very functional. We have to, use these muscles when we're walking. And so it's very similar to that, using your core muscles, using your back and your hips for that stability. Okay, so the next exercise that we're going to do is, I like this one. It feels really good. I call it the unilateral hip extension. You're going to have one leg down and one leg up. And what you're going to do is this knee wants to stay straight up to the ceiling. And when you do this, you're going to push through the heel and you're going to lift one side and rotate. So you get the real small muscles in the back. And then you'll come right back down. Now, you don't lift up both sides. You're not lifting up both sides to this. So this side is down. So if I show you here, this side is completely down. That knee's up toward the ceiling, and then you'll come back down. We're not rolling over. You keep the shoulders here so that you really can get the back moving. Feels really good. And again, push, lift, rotate. Do it slow. Hold it for a little bit. Come back down. 10 to 15 of those is going to be really good. Most people can do those. Again, knee shouldn't be coming like this. Knee should be straight up toward the ceiling. So that's the third exercise, really honing in on the back muscles more so than anything else. The next one is we're going to work on those abs. And I love to do this one with a band because you can really feel it in your abs by pulling. And so it's going to be similar to the bicycle, but we're not going to actually rotate. All I'm going to do is we're just going to use the legs. So your head could be down and you'll still feel it because you're pulling the band back. So it's really making you use those abs. If it's too hard, you can put your hands underneath your glutes and then doing it this way so you get a little bit more support. That can support the back a little bit more. If you want to make this even harder, you lift the head up, and that's going to really activate those abs as you move the band forward and backwards. The pulling of the band is really going to emphasize getting those abs to really fire, way more so than if you were to do it without the band. It's a really good trick to just really activating everything nicely through there. Okay, so we have stuff for your hips, your back. We have stuff for your abs. Now we want to get some stuff for your obliques. And this is the last one that we're going to show you. So I love planking. Side planking is really good. So you can do this. Make sure that you're not sinking down with the shoulder. Hold this up. Hold this side up as well. And the knee, start out with like just on your knees, and we can lift up. You can also do it with one leg out like this. Now we can hold this position where you're in like a straight line. You can also dip down and then really come up. So if you really come up, you're going to really use those obliques. You're also going to get the hips involved as well. Holding this, coming down. Now you can also make it harder by doing it with your legs straight, lifting up like this. Definitely much harder, much more advanced. Doing it with your one knee down, one leg out is much easier. So there you have it. There are the 5 exercises that you can do to really help improve your core strength with a lot of different areas. There's a lot of different areas to our core. This really hits a lot of those areas. And again, if you're noticing that you're having some pain with some of these things, you do not need to be doing this. We've got to get to why you're having the pain first in the first place before you go into any kind of core strengthening. They always say core strengthening is what's going to protect our back. Well, if you have back pain, it's not. You have to get to why the back pain is there, and then you start going into the strengthening. And once when the pain's not there and you start working on core strengthening, yes, it does protect the back at that point. But if you're in pain, core strengthening is not going to help you initially. You have to get to someone that understands what's going on to get to the source of the problem, and then you can go back into some of those strengthening exercises. So again, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We put out content all the time so that we can continue to help you put some of the pieces of the puzzle together of understanding the body and knowing what you can do. And we'll see you next time.